Bibi Netanyahu was interviewed by Patrick Bet-David on the Patrick Bet-David podcast, and they touched on a number of very important questions or issues, I should say, namely one very big one that lots of commentators like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and several others, Dave Smith, for example, which, by the way, Dave Smith was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Again, I'll be making a reaction to that a little bit later, depending on what's actually in the conversation. I dare say they touched on a number of things revolving around Israel, but we'll get to that potentially in another video. But let's focus on this one for a moment, because Candy Owens, Tucker Carlson, and the whole lot of them seem to believe that Israel is controlling the US, that Israel has lots of blackmail on many of the politicians, that, yeah, Trump is Netanyahu's puppet. So Trump is being controlled by Netanyahu, and Netanyahu tells Trump what to do and when to do it. Not like the fact that Israel is an ally of the US and there's mutual help and mutual agreements on certain things. Now, forget that as an actual fact, but it seems to be that Candace and Tucker love to tell their millions of followers that absolutely loathe and hate Israel that America is controlled by Israel, which is a bunch of nonsense. Anyway, I'm glad that Patrick asked Bibi Netanyahu whether or not this is true. And you're going to have to see Bibi's response. It's brilliant. Have a watch.
And 80% of it is spent in the United States. That's the deal. So it helps American industries. But we also produce these incredible weapons that we share with the United States. We produce intel that is invaluable for the United States. You're familiar with the Five Eyes, Patrick? You know what that is? You know all these countries that are part of the American intelligence system? Well, there's a sixth eye, Israel. It's a very powerful eye, and we share our intel with the American intelligence services, and that's why the bond is so strong. It's not only a bond of values of our common Judeo-Christian civilization, and it is really a war of civilization against the barbarians that we're fighting, but it's also a bond of utility, of great success. That partnership is very, very strong. I know it's challenged all the time, but it's very, very strong. And you should talk to some of the people in the higher places in the Pentagon. I wish you could talk to the people who share our intelligence or the weapon systems that we share. I think that you'll discover that they appreciate, as we appreciate enormously what America gives to us, and they appreciate what Israel gives to America. Somebody said to me, "You're the one fighting ally we have. You don't ask us to put boots on the ground. You don't ask us to fight your wars." Although President Trump did a great thing by joining in that precise strike that he did. Didn't start World War III. It didn't bring thousands of American troops on the ground in Iran, but it did. It was a magnificent addition to our brave soldiers. So I have to tell you, I think it's a partnership that is going to go on for a long, long time. As far as I'm concerned, for all time.
Prime Minister, what do you say to the critics who say, Israel owns America, Israel is who makes America do things they want them to do, whether it's through AIPAC, whether it's through, funding, money. You'll typically hear this. This has been overly said the last couple of years in a major way. And there's a community of Americans that at this point believe that whatever Israel wants, they make a phone call to America. America better do or else. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely not. I think it's full of hokum. First of all, do you know President Trump? I mean, sort of, I've known him for many years.
Sure.
Okay. You don't make him do anything. He does what he thinks is in America's interests, and he's very forceful about it. When he sees allies who don't step up to the plate, he's not shy about saying it. And we have a different relationship altogether. It's not one of coercion or manipulation. It's one of common interests and common values. And I think that people understand that, because Israel is different. It really is. We know that we have to fight for ourselves, and we do. But when we fight for ourselves, we fight for you too, because we fight Iran. Iran tried to murder President Trump not once, but twice. Iran killed and wounded thousands of Americans with their IEDs, explosive devices, in Iraq and Afghanistan. Iran killed 241 Marines in Beirut. They bomb your embassies. They burn American flags. They have mobs chanting, death to America, death to America. So when we fight Iran, we're not just fighting our war, we're fighting your war. But we are fighting that war here in the Middle East. And let me tell you what would happen. And as someone who had been in the Middle East as a child, I think you can appreciate this. It's not only we who are threatened by Iran, it's our Arab neighbors too. They know that Iran wants to conquer them, pillage their oil fields, take over the Middle East, the maritime routes that control world trade. So they know that. But if you look at who's actually fighting Iran, it's Israel.
The bond that America has with Israel is strong. It's more than I can say for the bond that Australia has with Israel because of ridiculous Anthony Albanese. But recently, Anthony Albanese has expelled the Iranian ambassador. Gee, maybe you should have listened to Israel a little bit more and not condemn Israel all the time and not distance yourself from Israel. Maybe it's a good thing that Israel is actually one of our allies. Maybe it's a good thing that America and Israel are actually allies together against fighting terrorism, that there is a mutual respect going on, not blackmail, Candace Owens. And this is directed at you because, Patrick, while they didn't mention your name, while they didn't mention Tucker's name, you two have been quite prevalent in the mainstream of podcasting, creating these lies, these fabrications, and it's hurting Israel and it's making you guys look like you are absolute fools. I mean, that's not hard to actually see, but it still is the case. You guys lie all the time. You're very good at it. I'll give you credit for that. It's not a very good thing to lie, but credit where credit is due for lying all the time. That's all you guys seem to do. You create a provocative narrative. But when the truth actually gets out there, when BB goes, no, we've actually got a agreement. We've got Judeo-Christian values that we share and align on, and we share intel, we share weapons with the US. And when Israel fights terrorism, we're actually fighting it on America's behalf and on people on the West's behalf. But, oh, no, Candace Owens is going, no, look at what Israel's doing in the Middle East. It's absolutely horrific. Israel is controlling the US. Now, Trump will do whatever Trump wants to do. He's not controlled by nobody. And to think that Candy and Tucker, they hate Trump that much, they're willing to lie about their president that is actually doing his best to keep everybody safe. Now, when BB said, when you've got an organization that chants death to your country, you wipe out that country that wishes death upon you. You don't let them or wait for them to strike, which is more than I can say for our stinking government here in Australia. They did something after there were two attacks. Seems to be like we're going to wait. And then we're going to wait some more after the attacks have been carried out. We're not going to do much. We're going to do an investigation, and that investigation is going to take months before we actually go, guess what? Israel and many others that were victims of the Iranian terrorist regime, they've been yelling and screaming about it for years. This is like the exact moment to go, we told you so, and you ignored us, and you didn't listen. Those are the kind of people you got to listen to, not like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson that spew a bunch of nonsense every 5 bloody seconds, but people that actually know what they're talking about. For example, people that have been victims of the Iranian Islamic regime, Dr. Kylie Moore Gilbert being one of them. I interviewed her, by the way. She's brilliant. So people that love to spread these false narratives and lies about Israel and how Israel is the big bad wolf, the enemy, all that sort of stuff, Israel's not. Zionism is not terrorism. Just pointing that out very clearly. Islam is terrorism. They make that abundantly clear. So people need to understand the relationship between America and Israel is a very, very strong one, and I'm thankful for that. I also know that Israel will eventually have to stand alone and only rely on God. That's biblical. But for now, it's good to see the relationship and the allyship of America and Israel is strong. It's not one of, oh, who's better than the other? It's not one of, I control you. You do this because I tell you to do it. No, Trump's attack, the 12-day war on Iran, was for every single person's benefit in the Western hemisphere, in the Western world, for democracy's sake. And he'd been saying it for years. No one believed him. No one listened to him. Well, now they do. Hello? Called a little bit of truth and common sense. Goes a long way. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.